Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the War Report. This is part 2, the gameplay segment. I'm Axel Sass, joined alongside Total Biscuit, and I've given the outfits their instructions on what they're hoping to accomplish. It's going to be the Bastion. We have VDRS from VS trying to take it, and we also have from the NC side, the Iron Wolves TIW. Let's go ahead and scroll on into the game where the players, the outfits have been given their instructions. Both of these teams have set waypoints. They know exactly what they're doing. They're going to be heading straight for the Bastion and attempting to take that location. Of course, it was chosen because it's connected to both VS and NC. We're trying to create as fair a location as possible for both these two squads.
Looks like the Iron Wolves have actually lost one of their galaxies already, so this is going to be a pretty difficult fight. They're starting to get into the watchtower itself. There are several units on the first and second floor now.
So as far as anyone is concerned from the Terran Republic side of things, they have absolutely no idea what's going on. All all they know is that, oh god, they're getting assaulted from every direction by both the VS and the NC. So we'll have to see how TR reacts. Of course, I understand this is your home server, Total Biscuit. I understand you have an outfit that is actually based here and is actually the Terran Republic. Do you think they'll be reacting to this in any way?
It seems unlikely. Most of our guys are European, so at this time our guys would be asleep. The new conglomerate do tend to get a population advantage on this server at night, so it's the kind of time when TR sort of buckle down on one continent, and it's usually Indar, not Amaresh. So it would not surprise me in any way if TR resistance was fairly light. Admittedly, there will be some of it. They are still fighting. We've got a number of heavy assault troopers, some of them using the new Striker rocket launcher to try and knock down some of the Vanu air that's coming this direction, but there's a large amount of Vanu scythes with ground attack capability coming in and taking out the anti-air and anti-vehicle turrets.
And now we're seeing the offensive here from the VDRS. They're making their way towards the point. Coming a little bit later, it looks like the Iron Wolves already have control of 3 of the locations with 2 on each. At this moment in time, we see the TR bar lowering, but now the VS are making their stand. They're coming forward with a bunch of ground vehicles, air vehicles, mounting an assault. Are the Iron Wolves prepared for this is the question I have.
Really, they're not, honestly. This is a combined air and ground assault. We have multiple pieces of armor moving in from VDRS. One of the Iron Wolf Sunderers just went down, which is, once again, a pretty crucial part of any assault. If you do not have active Sunderers in an area, you're going to struggle pretty hard. You're going to have to rely on your medics until you actually get spawn capability, and that's a struggle. With Mag Riders on the ground as well, it's a pretty ugly place for a lot of the NC to be right now, so most of them are hunkering inside the buildings, inside the towers, but VS seem to have ground superiority right now at the Bastion.
Of course, the key here is going to be where can you get those Sunderers deployed. We see the VS have one. It looks like near the southern, or the northern side, I should say, of the Bastion location. Of course, coordinating their efforts, trying to find the perfect spot to really start deploying from. Because if you can get a Sunderer up close and you can keep it defended, that's where you can have your spawn point. That's where you can really start mounting your aggression and get some momentum, hopefully, to start capturing the objectives. And I'm looking for a Sunderer from the Iron Wolves. Have you been able to spot one that they've deployed anywhere?
I haven't. It got taken out pretty early on by the small Vanu armor presence at the north of the base there. That's where they tried to hide it. That's where they haven't successfully hidden it. Now, in my experience, when you're assaulting the Bastion, any kind of prolonged siege, the control of the southern bridge is extremely important. Being able to deploy a Sunderer beneath the bridge or around that bridge area and keep it defended is always good. Because that bridge does have some shielding from the air, you can deploy a Sunderer and make it quite difficult to either attack it with a Liberator or attack it with aircraft with ground attack capability. Right now, the fact that the Iron Wolves do not have that spawn capability is going to cause them a lot of problems. They have control of B, which is good, don't get me wrong, but there's still a little bit of TR presence being annoying here and there, and if these guys get bottled up inside this tower, they're going to have a lot of problems, especially if the VS manage to get good Sunderer positions and start assaulting the tower in waves.
Yeah, I'm seeing tons of VS in the area looking at the objective points. We have 2 TR individuals on A. It looks like we have 2 NC individuals on B, and it looks like C is slowly converting to NC. So VR, well, it looks like they have a lot of control in the surrounding area in the form of vehicles and Sunders and whatnot. It seems like TR and NC are going to be the ones, at least for now, taking control of these points. Of course, this could be a time thing where, you know, again, as time goes on, as more VS get in here, as they start deploying more troops and more armored vehicles get in here, that momentum might start switching into their favor. But for now, they're having trouble actually getting individuals into these important points, A, B, and C.
I think it really is only a matter of time, though. It's more of a protracted siege technique here from the Vanu drop guys. They are repeatedly firing inside the capture points, killing large numbers of NC troopers from the Iron Wolves. So what that means is they can soften up the positions, and then they can actually move in. The fact that A is still held by the TR is bad news for the Iron Wolves, so we're hoping to sweep in, take that central position, because if they get that, and they get the ability to spawn there, then they can start to take the various floors of the tower, start to spawn aircraft, as well as utilize all of these capabilities to clean the VS out and actually defend the area. So we will see. It looks like the TR may have been cleaned out now, so things are going to be changing fairly rapidly, I think. And once that's happened, then it's going to be more difficult for the VS to penetrate that area, because there'll be an entrenched position that they've got to fight against.
Yeah, it looks like the VS controlling C for the most part. I see a lot of individuals from the Vanu drop squad just positioning themselves outside this location, making sure it stays defended, and it looks like they're slowly trying to push towards the middle. Again, as you said, that very important location of A, but it's very important to have those reinforcements. Friendly fire is in effect here in the game of PlanetSide too, so
oh, yeah.
you can't just run around on your own. You can't just charge a tank anywhere. You have to be very careful where you're actually shooting. You don't want to accidentally kill your own guys. Of course, that's where the importance of the Sunderer being deployed very close comes in. So if you do end up dying, again, you can spawn very close, you can retain that momentum. But yeah, friendly fire is definitely going to be an issue, especially if it gets too close quarters and there's a lot of tanks from each faction.
Well, the funny thing about all of this is the fact that TR is actually holding on to it quite nicely. They still have good control of this particular area. They can still actually spawn there. And at the moment, it looks like the NC might end up losing this attempted assault. And if they do, they're not going to have a beachhead. They're not going to have anywhere they can reliably spawn. So the Vanu could then roll in.
Looks like NC taking control of B there, so it's pretty interesting. It looks like on the west side of the Bastion, we have the NC taking more control, whereas on the east side, we're seeing VS take more control. And the funny thing is, TR is right smack dab in the middle, having controlled A. They might even, be notified of this. Well, they're absolutely going to be notified, but it's up to them to spawn in this location, and they'll end up spawning right at that A location in the middle of everything. So it should be interesting to see, how these players from each squad, from each outfit, decide to move onto the center, while, because they have two factions to deal with, right? The VR from the NC perspective, or the VS from the NC perspective, and the NC from the VS perspective, while also not, having to worry about the TRs right smack dab in the middle.
And the TR could just sit there and be pretty damn happy with it as long as they can hold on to the center tower. Keeping on C is important as well. You can't just sit on A, but taking C when A is still in full control of another empire is much, much more difficult. It's a lot harder to get in there, and it's magnified by the fact that there are VS ground vehicles. So NC attempts to repeatedly take A are not going all that well. Every time they grab it, which they've just managed to do right now, they get cleaned out, either by VS infantry or ground vehicles, or by TR light assault troopers that are coming off the tower. So it's messy one way or the other.
All right, looks like there's action going across all of the Bastion. I gotta wonder, before we reveal this challenge to our competitors, how peaceful this area was for the TR. But now, as it stands, I see explosions everywhere, smoke everywhere. Everyone's going crazy trying to kill each other, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a tough challenge for the TR to hold this position, especially considering we just told two opposing outfits to try to control it. But if the TR can do it, I'll be very impressed indeed.
Well, they might be. Considering over the last few patches in PlanetSide, it's become significantly easier to defend an area like this, simply because they redesigned the towers. They made them more defensible in general. Plus, the TR have access to the new Striker rocket launcher, which is advantageous in certain regards. So you can start to pick off vehicles here and there. There is what looks to be a more concerted push effort coming in now from the NC, who are trying to sweep around. They have managed to get guys on C as well as B, so they do possess that finally. So the TR should start to lose influence here now. which is always good news for these two guys. Yeah, it looks like they'll lock this down pretty tightly. And if I'm looking at, like, VS presence on the ground seems to have weakened significantly, which generally does happen after a while. You roll in there with a few tanks, and eventually start to get picked off. But here's the key element, which just went down thanks to the Terran Republic, amusingly, firing from the top of the tower. The VS Sunderer that was in prime position right next to the lifts on the tower to the east of the facility, that just blew up. So where do you go from here if you happen to be the Vanu? Do you recall to the nearest facility and bring out a new wave of vehicles? Because you don't really have a lot to do now on the ground, and we're not seeing all that many VS here anymore.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Again, it's so important to have that pivot location where, you know, there's obviously in this case it's going to be a Sunderer where you can spawn and consistently have presence in the fight. I'm seeing, looks like, yeah, a VS Sunderer over here in the, it looks like the southeast of the Bastion, so they have that point that's relatively close. It looks like they're all spawning in this location, trying to make movements up to that B location, but again, B is right now controlled by NC. It looks like the VS trying to get into at least, at the very least, the area to get up here and try to assault it, but we see they're taking advantage of again, having that cover. See the NC shooting from the windows at the B location, trying to make sure that the VS can't charge in, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to overwhelm with sheer numbers, as we see a large number of VS trying to come into this B location, going right down there, but again, NC has a max inside, and they're trying to hold this location as long as possible. Again, for those of you new to PlanetSide 2, you must, it makes life easier if you can control every single location A, B, and C. Right now, as it stands, we have NC has two guys, at least two guys on B, NC at least has two guys on C. A currently controlled by the TR, but if it stays that way, eventually NC should be taken over, but it might take a while.
Yeah, it will. The influence of this area for the TR, this has been held by the TR for quite some time. It's pretty close to, well, it's adjoined to TR territory, which means the influence for TR is very high. The influence count that you will see on the screen indicates around 66 to 68% TR influence, which means capturing it as the NC, especially when you don't take all the points, is very, very difficult. And they're struggling in this three-way ground war that is just a meat grinder right now. The TR continue to have presence in the tower. Any attempt by the NC to take it seems to be repulsed, and right now A is still held by the Terran Republic. However, the Iron Wolves are making some movements to try and take it. They're attempting to sweep and clear.
Do they have a Sunderer somewhere? I'm assuming
they must do. If they're still here, they must have a Sunderer. In fact, I'm seeing multiple Sunderers rolling in. The Vanu drop squad have just rolled one right near the tower to the east with the elevators, trying to find a good place to deploy it. They're actually backing off right now. I assume either they're out of deployment range or they just don't want to be shot by rockets. The NC continue to have presence here. So I'm playing Hunt the Sunderer right now, and I'm going to go and try and find them. Yeah, I've got it right here. It's a sneaky location to put it in. It is, in fact, I believe, just hidden on and around the bridge area. So to the south, that's where it is. It is right underneath the bridge. This is a great place to put it because it's basically immune to being bombed. It's immune to being sniped by rockets. It's very difficult to take out. You need to know it's there. It's a hidden location. Takes a little bit longer to get back onto the field when you die, but if that Sunderer isn't dying, which it's not, then the NC is going to have a good foothold here, and you can see what it's done. They've finally taken A. C is still TR, but only barely. B is flipping between both parties right now. The NC continue to make their way in. VS are also trying to take out C right now, but A is that key pivot point. You get A, you get access to that area, then you have just a wonderful position.
Yeah, it looks like A has, well, it was controlled by the Iron Wolves for a little bit there, the NC, but now it's gone back to that neutral color. I'm going to try to sneak in there and see what's going on. It looks like we do have some TR coming in here trying to take back control. Huge firefight going on here, but it looks like they will eventually control that point. But of course, the NC definitely going to have something to say about this, and eventually the VS, I would imagine. But for now, it looks like the NC is focusing on controlling that C location, and we see, again, the VS heading up towards that B from that center they have from below. So many people shooting at each other. Some Maxes jumping in here from the NC. Of course, they're that, again, they're that unit that can just come in here and take control. But again, so many VS representatives here really trying to take control of this B location. Successful for now. Again, it's going to be so helpful having that Sunderer very close to that location, but definitely trying to play coordinated as a team. And I'm wondering, how much of a chance does the TR have here? I mean, obviously we know the VS, they have, an outfit. They have an outfit coming into this location, very coordinated. So do the NC. Do the TR have any hopes of defending this in the
They
long
actually really do. They really, really do. And the reason is that unless there is a concerted effort to take and hold A for an extended length of time, the TR presence is always going to be there because they have that spawn advantage. They have a solid spawn point that is shielded. There's no way in there. And honestly, it's quite easy to clean out a couple of stragglers trying to capture A. This is why taking B and C in this area is not necessarily a priority. It's nice to have it, don't get me wrong, but A is the key. A is the linchpin, especially in a three-way fight, which is exactly what we're seeing here. If the TR can just respawn with speed and impunity, then either make their way onto the battlements and try and snipe off vehicles and Sunderers, grab themselves an air vehicle and throw rockets down at their opponents, utilize and repair the turrets, snipe, use light assault to drift down to the other objectives, or just sweep and clear with maxes down at the bottom of point A. They have a ton of options here, whereas the VS and NC, they don't seem all that focused right now.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm trying to figure out what the VS are hoping to accomplish right now. They're trying to assault a location just to
they're trying to take B right now by the looks of it, and they've got a lot of people heading in that general direction. And again, it's fine to try and take B, but this is why a three-way fight in this area is so difficult. Any attempt you do to take A leaves you on exposed ground, because there's no way to get to the A tower without moving outside.
Yeah.
B is a bit easier. B is actually connected to a large bridge area, which means that it's easier to access it without exposing yourself. You move into A, you try and roll in there. How are you going to do it? Where are you going to put the Sunderer? For one thing, you're not going to. You're not going to put the Sunderer that close, because if you do, it's going to die very, very quickly. So you end up in a slog on the ground, which is exactly what you're seeing right now. NC trying to retake B, whereas there's a strong VS presence there now too. And then the guys in the middle in A are just laughing because they're like, that none of these guys have any ability to take us on in numbers. That you can send a few guys to try and ninja cap A, but no one's going to let you do that for more than a minute.
So if you were in control here, and you, God forbid, you had control of either an NC or a VS squad, what would your game plan be? How would you attempt to capture this location?
Recall one squad to Warp Gate and Galaxy drop on A as a priority, really. Trying to assault it from the ground doesn't make a huge amount of sense, especially with all three factions fighting over it. It becomes this gigantic meat grinder. So I would Galaxy drop a good squad, couple of maxes, couple of medics to make sure you've got that last ability there. You clean the tower, you take it, and you hold it as best you can, and that's your job as your squad. And everybody else can fight over point A and point B and point C, because point A is that critical element. But right now, that it seems like they're going with the momentum of the fight. They see enemies, so they shoot at them, right? Which sounds sensible until you realize that actually PlanetSide is not a game about shooting enemies. I know, it sounds weird, right? It's actually a game about taking points. It's about playing the objective. It's about logistics. If you don't understand that and you don't execute it well, you can end up in these fights for hours, which is fun, but you won't get anywhere.
Right. Very interesting perspective there, of course. We see NC still retaining that Sunderer underneath that bridge.
They have another one too, actually.
Yeah, I see it heading over to the left-hand side here, and that's not a bad location to be deployed.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a third.
There's a third one. Yeah, it's actually well hidden. They managed to, they sent in 2 Sunderers at once, which was nice. I think they lost one of them, but the second one actually got around the back of C, which is a really nice place to put it, especially if you can hold C. They have full control of C, which means that now you notice the tempo of the battle has changed. Because you have consistent spawns behind C, C is no longer a contested area, right? So unless some infiltration
at least until
goes
that Sunderer is discovered and destroyed. But
which I think it might have just been, actually.
Yeah, I saw an
VS
explosion and a shot, but it's definitely still alive here.
Yeah, it's if it gets discovered and a few infiltrators move in to try and take it out, that could be a problem. But now the flow of the battle has significantly changed. C could be considered as safe as you can imagine right now. And if I was VS and I knew where that was, I'd want to get a couple of sites out and I'd want to rocket bomb that thing, or I'd want to get a Liberator out and take it out that way. Because now you know where the pushing's coming from. And you know that most of the ground troops are going to be coming from the east of the Bastion towards Point A via that open courtyard area. So you need control of that.
We also have NC, you know, they have a Sunderer just to the south of this Point B, and now they're sending a lot of troops up to this location. Remember, this is a location where VS has had control of that for a while. Again, they've had a Sunderer near here for quite a long time, but now there's 2 Sunderers in this area from the NC side of things, and I think it's going to be pretty difficult for VS to hold this location. So, you know, it's interesting how NC is really approaching this. The first, they're getting that Sunderer near that B location, and now they're kind of swinging around a couple Sunderers to the C location, or to this B location, and attempting to just throw a bunch of troops toward this location. It seems to be slowly but surely working. VS are definitely having their hands full here. As
well,
I've seen about 10 to 15 at the very least NC troops in this area.
Well, one of the Sunderers just went down. The Iron Wolves just lost their Sunderer at Point C. A bunch of infiltrators made this very difficult. Vanu infiltrators did a fantastic job there of moving in and taking out that Sunderer, and a couple of light assault troops here and there as well. So that's now problematic. That flow of troops from Point C has ceased to be there, and as a direct result, Point C is now flipping again. Vanu moving in. There are a couple of NC Maxes, but embarrassingly enough, that Max, I think, just went down to an infiltrator, which is not exactly what you want to see at all. And it looks like the VS should actually be able to take Point C now.
Just like that, though, NC is all up in Point B now.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's the problem, isn't it? When you have a limited number of troops, where do you send them? If you throw everything you've got at Point B, chances are you take Point B, but you lose Point A and you lose Point C in the process. Yeah. So it's about dividing your forces up. How do you do that if you don't have overwhelming numbers? This is a fairly even fight. I'd even say that the VS maybe have slightly less numbers, but they are being a little more careful in terms of how they actually deal with their opposition here. We've got another Sunderer now rolling. It looks like a Vanu Sunderer. It's not actually from the Vanu Drop Troopers outfit, but it is moving in regardless.
Oh, I see. It's a TR Sunderer over here on the bridge.
Yeah, it's not going to be a TR Sunderer in a minute.
No, it's
yeah, that's gone pop. That has gone completely pop right now. But regardless, that leaves the NC back in the position of relying on that Sunderer under the bridge.
I should back up.
Yeah, it's like, that's not where you want to be, man. That is not where you want to be.
I mean, I've discovered that it's all about making sure your Sunderer is, you know, not only hidden when you deploy it, but on the way to whatever location you're tending to go.
Yeah, it can't be spotted on the way because it's prime target number 1, especially if it's got people in it. That is just a giant gift basket. And Bastion is successfully defended by the TR. There we go. They held onto it long enough to actually get that defense again. So this is not looking good for either of our outfits thus far. The TR are being tenacious.
Yeah, they're doing a good job for sure. I'm wondering if maybe the Europeans are waking up really squirrely in the morning of the members of your outfit there, Total Biscuit.
I didn't tell them anything, man. You can't blame me for this. This is just typical NC and VS incompetence on display. Terran Republic might once again prevailed. Is anyone surprised by that? They shouldn't be.
That's awesome. Of course, for those of you just joining us, Total Biscuit is a very loyal member of the Terran Republic. Probably does not want to see this captured by either outfit, but
not really. No,
I'm definitely putting up a nice fight here.
It's all right. There's not much risk of that, considering what's been going on so far, I've got to say. And it is a difficult thing. It sounds easy, doesn't it? Oh, just take the points.
Right.
Yeah, it's a 3-way fight. This is not Call of Duty, and you don't capture points in 5 seconds. You've got to hold on to them, and you've got to make sure that you gain enough influence over an area to be able to take it out. It's very hard to do it now. The influence is slipping out of favor because the Bastion is connected on a significant number of sides. The influence is showing at 91% right now. That's very difficult to break. Because the TR sat on this and held it for so long, it makes it even harder to actually deal with.
They're wanting the Bastion. They're refusing to leave that location. It looks like.
They have no. Well, they don't. They can't have it. It's simple as that. They're completely cut off from that area.
Well, I'm talking about the VS rather.
Oh well, the VS might be able to get it. Yeah, VS pressure here on the TR should do the job, I would think. Admittedly, there's actually a significant number of TR soldiers now spawning. The VS just got cleaned out of the capture point again.
Yeah.
At Point A.
I'm seeing a lot of
TR max units, heavy assault. They're not messing around. The TR does not want to let go of this area.
course, it's a very, very important point to have control over. They successfully defended it once, but now the VS have control of both B and C. Again, they're valiantly defending A here. They have plenty of guys in the rafters on these stairs watching the entrances to this area to make sure that no stray VS trying to get in here. But again, VS is working hard to try to bust through. The question is, can they succeed? Can they turn this point over? And honestly, I think they might be able to. They've retained,
I don't see why not.
Yeah, like they've retained really good control over B and C, and once those are taken care of,
That's
all
what
that
you really
remains
need.
is
You can
just
solve them out that way.
yeah.
It comes down to the fact that, okay, you've got A, great. As long as we keep you off B and C, we still win anyway. It takes us a while, but once you lose your spawn privileges at the tower, which you will when the facility control flips over to the other side, that's when we just walk in and kill you, because we know you can't respawn. And since we have complete control of the area, we can put our Sunderers wherever we damn well please, so we can spawn wherever we want. So that's always good. So I think the VS will have that area eventually, and I don't see any way that the TR can successfully hold on to it unless they bring more forces into play, which right now it doesn't look like the TR are actually willing to do. They're fighting over Hyoka Tech Plant right now, and we've got Wukok Amp Station as well down at the bottom, which it looks like they've just managed to take from the NC. So they're kind of trying to take NC territory right now rather than fight the VS, and then they'll probably swing around and attack the VS on the front.
Yeah, it looks like, again, TR still trying to retain control of this point A. We had some VS guys kind of sneak in here and try to get their damage done, but it's just overwhelming numbers of TR at point A. But again, the question is, can VS retain control of B and C and eventually, you know, convert this area? Because again, the spawn point would then not exist for TR. We see them continue to try to bust into this location. But, you know, again, for those of you just joining us, we're watching VDRS and TIW, that's the Vanny Drop Squad, and the Iron Wolves go to battle on Waterson. I've given them a location to try to control. NC, unfortunately, they failed pretty hard. Again, it's hard to predict what else is going to happen. Right, it's hard to predict what else is going to happen on the map, so they were cut off pretty quickly from this actual area, which means, you know, right now, I don't think physically it's actually going to be possible. Oh, wow, they reopened the connection here to the Bastion, so we might see the NC try to charge up in here again. Nice,
yeah, that was a nice move there. They all went Moss Base and Mineshaft, which was good because they had access from Chimney Rock. So they immediately pushed up to Moss Basin, which now means they have access to the Bastion again. And in large numbers, the Iron Wolves are posturing at Moss Basin. The question is, do they go for the Bastion here, or do they just try and take Hyoka Tech Plant and then go for the Bastion? It would be nice to have that facility. It would be nice to have access to that spawn point. And maybe they do that while the VS try and bleed out. But yeah, they are going for the Bastion right now. With what, though? You know, what are they going to do? Where are they going to deploy? Where are they putting their Sunderers? And how do they intend to break this area? And what are they going to change for the first time around? Because it didn't work out for them.
It's hilarious. I'm coordinating with the outfit leader of VS. Apparently they just pulled out of the Bastion area, though. That's a little bit strange considering they're about to capture it, so I'm sure they can do it. That their outfit leader's getting a little bit annoyed with me keeping on changing the objective for them. But we're having fun here. Again, guys, this is VDRS, Vanu Drop Squad, and the Iron Wolves TIW. Definitely give them a look. You can play PlanetSide 2 right now at planetside2.com for absolutely free. And if you're interested in siding with the TR, you're like, you know what? NCVS, they're not for me. I want to hang out with Total Biscuit on this server.
Well, I mean, just look at this defense, man. Look at it. Just tell me you don't want to be a part of that. You got two Empires attacking a few guys, a few valiant few elite troopers in that tower. Who succeeds? The elite troopers, obviously. So you want to be playing that faction.
Hey, man, I'll hand it to them. They're definitely doing a great job. For those who missed it earlier, can you go ahead and explain a little bit more about you know, the outfit you belong to and how people can get involved with that?
Yeah, we're currently on a bit of a hiatus right now. We're reorganizing the leadership. We had a very large outfit previously, and it was kind of a Zergy outfit in the sense that a lot of people would just kind of get on and throw themselves at one objective in a very disorganized fashion. We're looking to sort of reorganize, just be a little bit more tactical and strategic. And hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be reopening recruitment and looking for more members for that particular outfit here on Waterson. Right now, at the Bastion, the Vanu Drop Squad have gone airborne, which I suppose makes sense considering the name. They're currently shelling in a big way the tower itself, trying desperately to hold onto it. But they've lost A again. Yeah. So it's starting to slip out of their hands.
Oh, man. I feel a little bad. I don't understand. Why would they pull out when they're about to capture it? They got so close. We even have, if we're looking at the middle left of my screen, you're seeing a little sliver of the VS, you know, slowly converting it. But BC controlled by NC now.
Yeah, the
they
NC
were able
right
to
back in
reconnect.
here.
You know,
The
kudos
Iron
to
Wolves
kudos to
redeployed.
them, man. They got completely shut down. They got completely turned away. They got isolated, but they were able to reform that connection. And by the sheer force of numbers and willpower, I guess, able to come back in and start capturing B and C, and NC is right back in this.
Yep, VS made some mistakes, certainly. They pulling out at the last possible moment was apparently not a very good idea.
I guess
Not
it's my
certainly
fault.
the method
I
I
don't
would
know.
recommend.
I know. I don't know if that's my fault, but come on. It looks
Yeah,
like they're on their way
you're
back.
a spy. That's the reality is that you are some kind of infiltrator. You're a double crosser. NC is now taking control of the Bastion at this point. If they hold on to B and C, they will be absolutely fine. They don't even have to try and take A. They really don't. Because right now, the Vano are kind of all over the place. TR resistance at A is still there, to the point where you might not actually want to directly engage it. But who cares, right? If you hold on to B and C, you get this area anyway, and then you
I
can
don't see that lasting much longer, man. VS just set up a Sunderer just below the B area, and
Oh,
it looks
yeah,
like
they're charging in,
spawning.
right.
Yeah, they're spawning everyone there. We have a bunch of VS members trying to charge into this B location, and we'll have to see how long NC can hold this. Well, just like that.
Oh, that looked at C as well, actually. Yeah, it's going to go pop, I think, for them at B. The question is, can they hold it at C? The answer is no, they cannot. The VS have managed to reorganize, and they are right back on C now as well. So, once again, what does this result in? TR victory. That big surprise. Always with the TR victory. It's wonderful when the factions squabble amongst themselves for an objective. TR are still holding strong on the walls of the tower right now. They are saying, you know what? Just come at us. This is not a big deal. We have a good entrenched defensive position. We have consistent spawning privileges. You guys are fighting over Sunderer locations, and we can sit in the tower. That's totally fine.
We'll see, man. It's not over just yet. The VS, they're angry. I can tell. They want revenge. They want this point once and for all. And look at that sliver on the left. Slowly but surely creeping up there. They have control of B and C. Sure, they don't have A. But again, that's not something they're necessarily 100% worried about. The question is, the Iron Wolves, what are they up to? They have a Sunderer nearby. I'm going to look at the map really quick to see if they're... Nope, they're still very well connected. In fact... VS is completely surrounded on 3/4 of the sides of the Bastion, so I feel like the VS might slowly but surely be able to take this over.
They might. So, interestingly enough, B is now under control, and the NC are trying to move in to take it back, and it's a messy engagement. It really, really is. NC are fighting up a staircase, which is never nice, especially when you're up against VS Max units. But it looks like they've managed to take B. It makes sense they have a Sunderer near B, so they do have that inherent advantage.
Yep.
I don't think there's a Vanu Sunderer near B. I mean, really, where would you safely put that? Actually, there is...
Yeah, they have one at the bottom
Yeah.
here. I can see a trail of dudes going up
going
that
up the
hill.
mountain. Yeah, there's quite a few of them. It's not the best place to have one, but it's not bad. It's
Where is NC coming from? I'm trying to find...
NC Sunderer, if
On
I
that
recall
B.
correctly, was... Is it gone pop? It may have exploded. No, it's actually under the trees to the southwest. So that's pretty well hidden as well. They're using the wall of the facility to shield it. Both of these guys have really good Sunderer positions, which means that the inevitable flashpoint for this engagement is all going to be outside of B, right? That walkway, that causeway there is a massacre.
Yep.
It is where everything is going to be going down. C, on the other hand, more of an incidental location. Right now, Vanu troops are grabbing it. They should have that momentarily by the looks of it. I'm looking for a Vanu Sunderer around there, and I do see one. There is a Vanu Sunderer once again in that position directly behind that wall, which, that's the best place you could put it, because you can access that elevator. You can then jump down on top of C. You can snipe from the tower as well. It's a pretty safe place to be, honestly, all things considered. And I don't think the NC have a Sunderer there. I believe they probably have their secret one hidden. Yeah, they do. They have their secret one hidden below the bridge, which is actually taking fire now.
Yes.
Because there is a VS Mag Rider that's located it. But it looks like the Mag Rider is going to go down. The Sunderer is still alive, I think. Yeah, it is. It's still up. So they kept that operation.
Smoking a little bit, but I see some engineers working on that guy, making sure he gets repaired back up. That's a really nifty location for Sunderer. Now, what's important is I feel like, has its location been discovered, though? Because that's half the battle, knowing where the Sunderers are. And then, of course, the other half is seeking them out and actually destroying them.
I think that Sunder is not going to live all that long. If the Vanu Drop squad actually coordinate properly, which they should, then that Sunderer should die, all things considered. It was not a random player that discovered that Sunderer. If it was, I would have said that Sunday maybe lives, because who's to know if that random player really has the foresight to communicate that to the rest of the Empire itself. But since it was spotted by the outfit, that should die. More to the point, that is actually a really nasty position now, because what they could choose to do instead of blowing the Sunderer is bottle it up. Is take a few snipers, set up a few turrets, and then just kill anyone trying to run up the hill. Because it's a very dangerous location to actually assault from.
You know what's interesting, this Sunderer that's been at the bottom of B for a while now, 4VS has definitely been spotted by the NC. They have some scouts looking at it from above that tower on top of that bridge. We have some rockets lofting their way towards this area as well, and they might try to focus all of their forces on this location. Again, if you can eliminate this Sunderer, there's no more spawn point here for the VS, and that Sunderer is definitely getting shelled away, but I think by both the TR and the NC.
Yeah, the TR wants to get rid of it as well, obviously, because these guys are a gigantic pain in the neck for them. The VS are currently capping, although they're only halfway there so far.
Yeah.
Sunder is taking some fire. It's not taking any direct fire, though, right now. It seems to me that any attempts to take it out have sort of been abandoned for the time being. It may very well have just been a lone piece of C4 or anything like that. They could send infiltrators in it, but there's no real air power available to take it out. There's no ground vehicles to take it out, so it's going to be a bit more difficult.
I'm seeing some explosions, man. That thing's on fire.
Yeah, I think actually the VS, the NC are directly assaulting it. They're trying to take it out as quickly as they can. And down it goes.
There it goes.
That was a rocket from the ridge, I think, actually, that finished that one off. That's going to be critical. That means that B for the NC right now is looking like a tasty location.
Yeah, considering their Sunder is still there next to that tree from earlier.
Yeah, it's up. So that should be fine for them for the time being, unless, of course, that gets taken out as well, which it is.
I don't know if they know. Oh, it is?
No, I thought it was taking fire there, but it was just close by. No, there it is. It's actually taking Vanu rocket fire. The Vanu
number 11, Adept Phil of the Dead. I'm able to read his name. He's shooting at that with rockets, so he's on VDRS. He definitely knows that's there. But again, that Sunderer that they had that was relatively close here, it's gone. So I'm wondering where. I'm going to start looking for a VS Sunderer to see where.
Yeah, there must be a backup Sunderer. Either that or it's just a lot of medic play. I'm noticing a significant number of medics around the area. So, yeah, okay, you can't respawn, but if the medic stays alive, then you're okay. Oh, wow, Vanu air power coming in, actually. Several Vanu sites now assaulting that Sunderer. It is not dead yet, but it's likely to. If it keeps taking that kind of fire, then it's not likely to survive. Another strafing run with rockets comes in on that location, taking down a couple of NC troops as well.
I feel like since they know it's there, they're definitely going to be focusing on taking that down. They just lost a very important anchor position in the center of their own. They're going to see this position, and I feel like, if not for just revenge, they might try to do it. But look at this, the Bastion.
It's about to flip to VS at this point, man. I know that I don't think A is held by VS. No, it definitely isn't. There's a lot of TR there just making sure that that's not happening. But it doesn't really matter, because if you hold on to B and C, you grab it anyway. B is... Oh, it's in the process of potentially flipping by the looks of it here. It's so close for the capture. It may still be a VS victory.
Gosh. It is very close. I'm seeing like about a centimeter away from capturing this location. They have control of C. They do not have control of B. And C...
Losing B actually means they get stuck here.
And that might be a direct result of losing that Sunderer that was so close to this location.
Most likely. I have to say it was, because like Sunderer versus no Sunderer, it doesn't matter how good you are with medics unless you do something decisive right then and there. Like either kill the other guy's Sunderer or go and fortify that area. You are going to go down. The NC have managed to take B. There is a Mag Rider moving and trying to clear this out.
Oh, not anymore.
Up to something. That just got C forward by the looks of it. That was unpleasant. Now the VS are moving in. The NC is still holding on to B. VS hasn't got this area yet because they only have 1 point. So you see that bar has ground to a standstill right now. Has
it, though? It seems like it's slowly inching. It was a centimeter. Now it's like a millimeter, isn't it? Am I looking at this? It's very close, isn't it?
I don't see it moving here. It could be. It could very well be moving very slowly. But at the moment, it looks like it is a bit of a stalemate. Unless VS can take B back, then I think they're still going to be in quite a lot of trouble. I think
Now-
the reason it's moving, actually, is because there's only one on the point of B and there was two on the point of C.
I found the VS Sunder, by the way. It is very close to C. It's literally on the other side of that.
Oh, wow.
that
NC
building.
Max unit just breaks into C, actually, and obliterates the Max and several others. I wouldn't want to be in the face of that scatter Max, and apparently neither do the VS. VS are going to lose C at this rate.
Oh, they don't want to. They're sending some guys in there, but again, as you said, there is a very mighty Max in there trying to defend that location, trying to flip it over. Now we have 1 out of 2 for the NC controlling this location. The VS trying to charge in here with some infantry of their own, but they're getting slowly whittled away. And
Nice.
the NC holding strong. Look at this.
They've got it. They've got B and C right now. A was being assaulted. The question is, can they do anything with it? And wow, we've been fighting all night. It's almost morning here on Amaresh. As you can see, the lighting level has raised significantly. These guys have been fighting all night. It's just been time dilated. C is going to flip back to Vanu any moment now.
Lots of medics in here as well, reviving everyone. And that'll just be like 15 members of the VDRS in here trying to capture this location. And
Spawn beacon down for the Vanu right now as well, because they see their Sunderers taking some damage, so they want to make sure they've got a backup location.
they're so close to flipping this. They're incredibly close. Again, there's literally a millimeter left on that barn. Yes, it is getting brighter outside here in the PlanetSide 2 world. What's it going to take? How are they going to achieve that last little sliver?
They've got to get another Sunderer in position. The problem is this Sunderer, this safe Sunderer, is now finally taking damage. There is... They got it anyway.
They got it.
There we go.
Okay.
It took them a lot of work, but they eventually were able to finally take that out. And the VS will now be able to sweep through the tower and deal with the remaining TR resistance, considering that was their spawn point. They're not going to be coming from anywhere else, and VS are moving in. There's a couple of NC actually doing that as well. They want to still have that location if possible.
The Iron Wolves still want to take this location, so I'm not going to call anything just yet. It's one thing being able to capture a location, but being able to defend it and hold it, that's a whole nother thing.
With spawn privileges, VS should have this area now, really. There's usually the way these fights go, 95% of the time, is once that is captured and spawn privileges flip over to an Empire, there's a bit of resistance for about 5 minutes, and then it's just a cleanup job. Yeah, I call that Vanu victory, man. That is Vanu victory.
Very well done. Guys, that was VDRS versus the Iron Wolves. Again, we selected a location on the map. We're like, all right, go for it. They went for it. VDRS coming out on top. Congrats to them. A lot of fun. I'm sure they had fun, too. Again, you know, how often do you get objective-based competitions like that in PlanetSide 2?
It's always fun.
Yeah, of course.
It's difficult to try and really judge who kind of won this. The thing about PlanetSide is that there's nothing stopping you or anyone else from getting involved in this fight. So it's not a 36-on-36 arena. Anyone can come in. The end of the day, the VS were successful, however. So you can't really take that away from them. And really, it's the points that matter.
Yeah, it's the points. Is that a reference to whose line is it anyway?
Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Could be.
So yeah, guys, this is VDRS versus the Iron Wolves, and it's interesting to talk about how that kind of went. We gave the instructions at the very same time on, you know, all right, here's what you need to do, and then we saw the Iron Wolves. It was weird. They didn't have a lot of vehicles, but the VDRS, they were a little bit slower in moving to that point, but they had like a massive...
They brought vehicles.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, sure, the Iron Wolves got there first, it seemed like, but then we started seeing that slow, methodical push of the VDRS, and then it might have been, you know, unaffected by anything that we were controlling, but as far as the Iron Wolves, they kind of got cut off. There was that point in the middle there where they got completely cut off from that location. And again, when you're cut off like that, first of all, you don't have any spawn points near you. You need a Sunder there. But second of all, you can't actually, like, it's restricted
you just physically
in the game.
Can't cap it.
You physically cannot capture the location. So that was a little bit unfortunate for the Iron Wolves. They had to, you know, they had to reassemble and take some capture points leading up to it, or take some area leading up to it, so they could actually reconnect it and try for it. So an advantage there for VDRS, but ultimately, you know, they did a great job. Really cool coordination that we were able to see. We really got to see how an outfit can work together in an attempt to take a location. So I think that's going to conclude episode 4 of the War Report. Total Biscuit, once again, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Good, man.
I had a blast. I hope you had a blast. I hope we can do it again. And again, I urge everyone to check out planetside2.com. Totally. Before I let you go, do you have anything, any plugs you'd like to make? Anything you'd like to say?
Thank you to Sony, I suppose, for PlanetSide for sponsoring Axiom Esports. You know, that's kind of a big thing for us. First major sponsor for our team, and it's always interesting to see one game sponsoring another, and you think, what? Really? It's like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Really, these are the kind of games that don't really compete with each other. They're the kind of games that you might want to play in your off time from laddering. I don't know, if I've been killed a few too many times by Baneling busts, I just want to go and bomb something in PlanetSide 2. It's usually a good way of doing things.
All right, that's awesome, man. And Twitter is, let's do the Twitters and stuff.
It's Total Biscuit. You can follow me there or not.
Google the guy.
I'm a bit spammy. You might not want to follow me. It's probably for the best that you don't.
Hey, I'm entertained. Total Biscuit, the thing I've learned about him, he frequents the community sites. You'll see him post on Reddit. You'll get those guys.
I shouldn't do that, man. I shouldn't do it.
I mean,
bad habit.
That's a conversation for another day, perhaps. But again, Total Biscuit, thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to having you on again in the future. Guys, again, that was Total Biscuit, and I'm Axel Toss. You've been watching The War Report. I hope you enjoyed Episode 4, where we had the VDRS, the Vandy Drop Squad, go up against the Iron Wolves. A ton of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, if you want to get involved, Google these guys. Google VDRS, Google TIW, and join these outfits. And then you can go with them. You can work with them to capture these locations. If we can go to my my screen really quick, just to show the celebration that is happening for the VDRS. Here they are. They're celebrating. They're having a good time. They just captured this location. And again, congratulations to them. But guys, this has been The War Report, Episode 4. This has been Alex Axel Toss Rodriguez. And again, if you want to play PlanetSide 2, planetside2.com. You can play for absolutely free. Also, I'm taking submissions for top plays. If you have a top play in PlanetSide, go to majorleaguegaming.com/submit. I'll check it out, and we'll see what we can do with that. And, of course, every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, tune in to The War Report. We'll all be hosting with various guests here and there. So, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.